the home run. You'd be best known for it. A fan grabbed his glove, his arm glove, and then pushed the ball out. I guess they were trying to get the ball, but they.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And they let that ride.
Nah, they got kicked out.
Oh.
He banned for life. That happened before.
I know the Chicago Cubs.
He banned life.
Definitely.
He banned for life.
Yeah. Was it home or away?
Yankees were home.
Oh, so it was a.
Yeah.
Can't show his face. He's a repeat yourself. That's actually kind of funny though.
You kind of think they were lying. You kind of think they were lying.
A lot of noise in the background. It's my nephew. Don't mind that. He's joining us today in the studio.
It's funny because he didn't think them under Boston. He thinks the Magnus and Aegis.
Working audio, our nephew.
And I already got there with that. You ready, Devin? While you fixing your hair, man?
Oh yeah.
Nobody can see the back though.
Listen, still. You gotta maintain it, right?
Welcome to another episode of Above Average Black Men. Yours truly, Chris Bender Sr.
Chris Jr. here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community.
Devin Pender here to remind you guys to like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, interact with us.
Yes. Yes. For those of you who always watching, yeah, we appreciate you. You want to start off saying that too?
Interesting topic tonight. We're going to be talking about what does it mean to be grown? Is it age? Is it maturity? Is it a combination of the two?
I feel like it's actually a ton of definitions on it, you know. Do you want me to start with what I think it means to me, or like just some of the things that we hear?
I think it's different. I'm at the place where I think the Webster definition is no longer applicable.
Like the idea of being grown?
Yeah, I think it's changed.
I think it's a combination of things, you know. It's certainly a mentality, I think, and an ability to do certain things.
Okay.
I feel like, some people nowadays probably miss out on the mentality part, and I think that gets kind of convoluted. And
it's hilarious.
Like, it's funny to hear, like, just even the topic for tonight, the idea of like, what does it mean to be grown? Like you hear kids say it, or people, even sometimes our age, they think just because they pay a bill, or they got a job, or even because they have a child, they think that makes them grown. So, but I think that's where the mistake lies. I think it's certainly you can do and have all those things and have an immature mindset or mentality. So just the idea of being grown, I think it's a combination of things. I certainly think it's a combination.
Doesn't?
Well, looking at the definition, so fully developed and mature, both physically and mentally.
I said that.
Of course, the definition doesn't change, but like you said, I think mentality-wise, I think that has changed a lot. Like, there's a lot of people who physically may be grown, but at the same time, they still have a very mature mindset.
Immature, yeah.
So, or immature mindset. So that kind of brings you back a little bit.
But look at the definition, and the reason why I say I think it's kind of jaded is because even the definition of maturity is changed. You know, when I used to hear mature growing up, I thought it meant like
all types of definitions have changed.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. How it's not like it's not as clear cut as it was before. You know, because some people think, like, I'm gonna go back to what you said. Some people think it's mature because they can't pay a bill. Some people think it's mature because they did have a kid. You know, hey, some people think mature because they can curse now. You know, I can smoke a cigarette, I can go to the bar. But people think that's and I think I do agree everything has changed, but I think that's one of the things that's really impacting our society today is that definition of maturity and growth.
Yeah, and I think again the idea of being grown kind of resonated with me because I think I don't know if I had this conversation with you or somebody else where I feel like there is a certain level of immaturity nowadays with adults. Like it's like Peter Pan land. Everybody just wants to be young forever versus, it's okay to grow old and get a little bit mature and, not necessarily do a lot of the same things that you did when you were younger, finding new ways to kind of find joy out of life. So I think again that the idea of being grown is so skewed. Because then on the other end, like young people, they think they grown, and it's funny, older people want to be young forever. So it's
See,
just
that's
like,
what I was about to say. You touched on something that I think is kind of almost. It would be hilarious if it wasn't funny. And what I mean by that is, it's not funny, haha. It's just funny, ironic, because there is some folk who don't want, they want to act like they're still 20 years old.
mhm.
They want to do things, like by the time, and I know somebody's always going to disagree, but I think by the time you get to your mid 30s, you know, bar hopping, clubbing, all that stuff should be dead. It should be out of your system. I'm not saying you can't go out and kids,
No,
but that should not
every
be.
once in a while,
But that
that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I'm finding a different joy in life. Is like you get older, you can do and experience different things. Like when I'm 21, I definitely was like, all right, what bar can I go to? I'm just glad, right?
Yeah.
Like hop. But like when I got older, it's like now I'm like, man, what city can I go to, or what museum or experience can I have?
But most people have not matured. There's people who man, I know people who I don't know anymore who used to just, their whole thing was every summer go to Atlantic City, get as drunk as I can get on. That was every year. Nothing, and I'm not talking
21.
No, they weren't 21. No, they weren't 21. I'm telling people I used to work with. They weren't 21, and that's what I'm saying. That whole maturity thing is changing because I'm not saying you got to be like everybody else, but at what point, do you realize? Okay, let me start here. At what point do you realize you have a child given another life that you're responsible for? That you can't be wearing body stuff hanging all over the place and tattoo. That you have to become a mature adult, not just for you, but for your child. At what point, does that settle in now? And that's what made me ask the question about grown is because, because the kind of work I do, I work for kids and I get to see the families, and there's a lot of parents, man, who are so immature, man, and it's scary because they're raising kids.
Yeah. I can only imagine. Like I think the reason I even kind of said that is just looking around and seeing people, my age sometimes, people that you grew up with, and you see them still doing some of the same crazy things, and now you see them having kids, or it's just like, or you see people from afar, who telling and sharing their stories online, and you just like, yo, how is this person like even a functioning adult? I think social media has really shown that too, like how immature and kind of crazy some adults are. Like, because I understand like the ideas of being funny and entertainment and stuff like that, but there are some people who are just being outright fools, and I just think like embarrassing themselves and like just full grown adults.
But embarrassing their kids, man. I see some people come there, and I'm thinking to myself, if that was my mom, I would be so embarrassed. Each mom coming up there, body parts hanging all over the place. And now it's cool to wear those bonnets, so that's even worse now. And but you got pajama pants on, your shirt, your shirt is cut up to here. And I'm like, man, if that's my mom, But I'm saying if that's my mom, like, yo.
And
and kids are rough. Kids are rough, man. Kids are rough. Yeah. So, but it's just saying. So, but at what point do you mature enough to know to take the bonnet off before you go outside? Don't go outside, to the supermarket or pick your kid up from school in pajama pants. If you got to make a quick run, I'm not going to get into that. But if you going to the supermarket of your kid's school, come on, man.
So, do you think? Some kids are honestly probably a little bit mature than they need to be.
Well, some, but I think the majority of them are too immature. The majority of kids I work with, Devin, for their age, and that's for nothing because that's direct from their parents because their parents are immature. Yeah. So a lot of these kids now, man, I look at them and I think, man, was I like that? Seriously, I'm like, yo, was I like that?
I like you said that to Angela the other day, like, because we were just talking about how. You look at. I was like, man, am I being that old man now where I look at kids and I'm just like,
yeah,
what are they doing?
It's like I sound like my dad.
Like, right? I legit like, man, were they saying that about us? Was I like that?
But from my perspective, watching the three of you grow up, no. So I kind of have you.
Or even the idea of other people being like that.
But I meant just seeing your friends as a whole. I'm not, no. I mean, yeah, you had your moments when you silly, you have a good time. but I don't mean immature. They silly all the time. You know, they struggle with following basic instructions. You know, they can't sit still. You know, it's just they see, and I don't know what it is. They
You think it's the idea of like parents and
Yeah.
looking at their kids as their friends?
I think it's one or the other. I think either they're real immature or they too grown. It's very often that you find a kid now in the middle. Yep, it's very often that you find that kid in the middle. Is and like I expect kindergartens to act like kindergartens. You know, but I got first graders, I got fifth graders who act like kindergartens.
It is. Why is that? Why is it such a far extreme of either they're
I think parenting.
or they're
I think social media and parenting. I think parenting has a lot to do with it. You know, because if you're immature, see, and I always say this all the time when I do my parenting classes, your kids are more likely to imitate you than they are to listen to what you say now. It's a different time frame. And part of it is, like you said, is because of social media. It's because they're stimulated by visual stuff, man. Yeah, they visually they look at the stuff and they're hearing stuff and they're influenced by this stuff, man. And then they talking to their friends. The friends saying, "No, I think so." It's just it's a domino effect. And then you got parents who don't know how to be mature. You come up to school cursing everybody out. Your kid did wrong. Or you getting high like some little kid.
I guess
with your kids. It's just crazy.
What is to more so conceptualize the idea of maturity? So people have a better understanding of it. Like, what would you say?
To me, first of all, a mature person is accountable. A mature person, he or she owns up to her mistakes. He or she understands that they're not perfect and they have somebody around them who can help them grow. Who you give somebody permission to say, you screwed up. I think that's the first thing. And I think responsible. I think part of maturity, and it's not about being perfect, but if you got a kid, you can't always leave your kid with somebody else. You can't be drinking and smoking in front of your kid, or there's certain things you got to change. Like I have somebody, and she wondered why her kid is acting jacked up because she acts jacked up. And your kids they look at you, they imitate. Parents are the first role models for their kids. Parents are the first teacher for their kids. I think the third thing is, and this is going to be debatable, I think character integrity. Man, have some integrity, man. Don't lie all the time. Shouldn't lie any the time, but you lying in front of your kid, you just lie all the time, man. Like a little kid, you caught red-handed and you making stuff up. Like I have somebody who works for me, and I walk in the room and they're not watching the show. This is above their head, so I can worry about that. But I mean that.
You say that every week about something.
Because they're not because I know the kind of stuff that she's into. Very nice person, but she's immature. And I would catch her doing something, and she, oh no, I just saw you, and then she would say, yeah, you right. But but that's on the comments. She goes every time.
Yeah, you right.
But it goes like that every time.
You got me.
No, dude, I'm glad she admits she's wrong, but it goes like that every time.
You gotta go like that.
Every time the conversation goes the same way. Oh yeah, you're right.
Like, what are you just gonna be like? Start like that.
Yeah, just come out and say you caught me. Right. I'm busted.
Nah, I just saw you.
So it's like, you talk me out of what I saw.
That's so funny.
But the thing about it is, it's becoming more common. I don't. Even people who should act older don't act older. I'll be 63 next month. And I can't see somebody 63 running around here acting like they're 23. I just don't get that.
I mean, it's people out here that.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100%. But you're 100% right. But I don't understand because you're not. And first of all, I embrace. I say this so many times because Tommy and I talk about this. A good friend of mine, Tommy Franklin. I know so many people that didn't make it to this point. So I'm embracing it. Nobody wants their hair to fall out. Nobody, and I get all that. Nobody wants, I just let this go because I was struggling with the gray on my beard, man. It's like, yeah.
I didn't want to say anything. It's strong.
But you know what? It's cool. I like it. It fits me. It fits my personality. Yeah. But so it's inevitable, and you should get wiser as you get older. And the other thing is, what you do don't change how old you are. So just because you act like you, to Devin's point, 30, 35. And then my thing is, what are you passing on to the next? Because part of his maturity is passing something on to the next generation. If you acting like them, what you passing on? So I think that's part of what we see in our kids today, man. The parents today are just different. They just different, man. You know, I can't even begin to explain how they different. I couldn't tell you where it changed that, but it's
Because I
just
think
different
it
parents.
was, I
now.
mean, you always kind of hear people talk, I'm not going to do what my parents did. And I think it got to an extreme.
Oh, extreme is understood.
Like,
But I think if you got your kid around it all the time, you know, you sitting there watching crazy stuff with your kid. Then you wonder why your kid is cursed. And like, for instance, we had a kid who, I'm not gonna say his name, but we had a kid who last year, at the end of last year, made a list of kids he wanted to bully this year. That's a problem. And then you talking to the mom, and the mom is like, don't understand, like she is like that's
like
not normal.
Everybody hates Chris.
Yeah, that's like
bullying just does that extra.
But that's the dude who, and I don't mean harm, but that's the dude who 10 years from now, he got 3 choices in life. Either he gonna go to jail, he gonna get killed, or somebody gonna beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Because you teach them at this early age, and he only bullies kids he's bigger than, you know, or girls. So you're setting precedent for this kid. So, and that's a level of immaturity that the first thing you say is F them up. Whoever somebody, no, it's always your kid. When you talk to these parents, man, it's like talking to 12-year-olds sometimes. It's like you're a grown person, and you talking about fighting all the time.
I mean, but
you talking about putting the Vaseline on and coming up
here. It's like that.
It's disturbing.
Kids or haven't been for a while. It sounds like kind of forced to kind of be mature or held accountable for anything. You know,
what happened to Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, and
it's all me.
Well, it was still, yeah. I mean, what happened? I mean, kids, and I'm noticing kids don't have the same imagination they used to have. You know, it's just they're different. You know, they're silly, but they're not silly to the fact that they don't dream about anything.
I think they get introduced to reality a lot sooner.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like they don't have even an opportunity to kind of be imaginative.
This is what made me think about it. But that's not the definition of maturity. Yeah. Because you take a kid who is whatever age and you turn him into a mini you, you know, at that age. Nah, you know, first maturity is something that comes organically. Mm-hmm. It does. And you mature at different ages. Second of all, you lead by example. There's always an exception where some kids step outside the realm, but most kids pick up characteristics from their parents. And I think that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing parents who are immature, so kids are immature. You know, even in high school, man, high school kids, you work with high school kids, you know, they come on, man.
You just see all you do is stay around, right? I mean, but I see
your mama.
Kids like, come on, they're babied and coddled to a lot. Like, it's probably the other way too. Instead of being introduced to things too early, it's probably someone who just they not introduced to enough.
Well, sheltered. Well, let me say this. Let me say this in all fairness. There are some who have matured quickly because they had to. Yeah. Because they had to get a job. Because mom, you know, got laid off, whatever. They had a bunch of siblings. Because I come across kids.
I feel like I recognize that.
I do. I come across. But even that maturity is different because they're not hardcore nuts. Huh. You know, they long to be a kid. They want to be a kid. They want to do some of the stuff the kids are doing. You know, but they're not like somebody think they're grown because now I'm gonna get tattoos. I'm gonna do all this crazy stuff. I'm gonna get drunk. I'm gonna do this, and you know that's different. These are kids who, because mom got laid off, like I know somebody, you know, her mom, she got 7 siblings. Mom got laid off, so she working. You know, don't have to, but she working. You know, I know it's same thing with the dude. He got 2 little brothers, so you know, I knew him last year. They did graduate. They did what they supposed to do, but he had to work. He had to work overnight. You know, because he wanted to play sports. So some of these kids do get forced into their role. But I'm talking about the kid who, you know, you're 13 years old, you're talking about sex. You know, you're 13 years old, you're 12 years old, you're talking about sex, man. You know, those kids who, and they want to actively pursue it. I'm not talking about just talking about it. You know, they passing notes back and forth. You know, or I got to, and this breaks my heart. You know, you get these kids now. I got a kid who I gotta say this. I got a kid now who makes sexual passes at his little brother. Yeah, that's the stuff you deal with. That's the stuff, and that's the stuff you deal with now. And then you get these immature parents who don't see, you know, they just want to kind of explain it away, or because they take it personal, they just kind of push it aside. That's the kind of crap you deal with now.
No way.
It's different, man. And I'm telling you, it is different. You know, I got kids now who are 8 years old and angry at the world. Angry at the world, man. You know, then you talk to the parent like, oh yeah, man. You know, boys won't be boys. You know, I mean,
I guess that's what I was saying in terms of people coddling their kids and like just making excuses for.
But that ain't coddling. That's just parents. I mean, parents just don't care.
I mean,
I do agree with you the coddling, but I'm talking about parents who just don't care.
Yeah.
Almost like, like I had a parent tell me this was last year, because I had to have a meeting with them, trying to meet with them at 2:00.
Mm-hmm.
I'm missing my show. I'm gonna kill that little your show. Your kid about to get expelled from school.
That is insane.
But I'm telling you, this is what you deal with. This is why I have so much empathy for teachers.
I'm missing my show.
I have so much empathy for teachers, man, because teachers and now school is hasn't happened yet, but school is going to be charged with actually raising some of these kids, man, teaching character education, teaching integrity, providing tutors, because it's not happening at home because you got these parents who still think they're 20 years old.
Elections coming up, and Trump wants to get rid of the Department of Education.
Yeah, don't tell me talk about
just
that.
getting that out
I had to take
little plug, shameless plug. Get out there and vote.
I had to tell your mom, man. I'm cut all the people off.
Shameless plug.
I cut them off. If somebody hit me up on Facebook with that nonsense.
I actually saw someone in the gym with a Make America, the black dude, Make America Great hat. Like, I've never seen that in real life.
And it's like, was he trolling?
Yeah, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, it's trolling. Like, Make America Great.
But in all honesty, I don't think there's any good like examples of maturity even in like TV anymore or like in people's everyday lives. Like, granted, like you gotta admit, like back then you still had Uncle Phil, you had Mr. Cosby in the show. That's comfortable. Like we had different examples of like, all right, if I didn't have this in my real life, at least I can see it, on TV that there are different ways to be mature. But I feel like you don't see that anymore. You see the Peter Griffins and the Homer Simpsons and like different things like that. So I feel like it's another wrinkle. Why there's not a lot of maturity going on.
I agree. Like in terms of we were just talking about social media and not seeing it there. Certainly back in the day, we had shows or content where it was positive male figures, but then now more so today. I mean, Dave, you mentioned this before, where it's just kind of like the goofy dad, or like just the man who he can't do anything or get stuff together. It's just always it's just that level of immaturity there.
But I think immaturity and
aloof.
Like, so I also tie it to this lack of education. I don't mean just academically, I mean life-wise. Like, for instance, I was watching the lowlights of Trump's speech in Madison Square Garden. It was lowlights. It was the worst thing. I had to turn it off, man. It was the most racist, offensive thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And so it got to a point where this black guy sitting there with a funny hat on, and the guy goes, hey, what, you got a lampshade on your head? Then he goes, oh, that's all right. I can talk about him because we had a Halloween party carving a watermelon last night. And dude starts laughing. So yeah, and I hope it ain't somebody's parents, but I'm saying we at this point now where we do things like that.
I'm thinking some of them people are get paid to sit back.
You're not gonna pay me enough though.
Because I see one dude, black dude back there, he was mad. He was just sitting there like,
but I'm saying, even to Devin's point, what message are you sending to your kids? And I say this all the time. If that's who you want to lead this country, what message are you sending to your kids? People who yeah, man, I'm a vote. What are you telling your kids? Like, I even go a step further. I say this to your mom all the time. I want to know who these guys married to, that they can be they can lie and do all this stuff. Their wives don't say anything. Who's checking them? All of them. Children, they just say stuff and do stuff. Some of the stuff they be saying, it's not true. But I'm just saying, but this goes back to
power.
What is that? We teaching our kids?
No. I mean, hopefully not.
I'm agreeing with you. I think that's a bigger problem about immaturity. Because when you're immature, you think money fixes everything. When you're immature, you think it's just all about the money. Years ago when everybody was the 50 thing, get rich and die trying. Which is the dumbest phrase I ever heard. But everybody was saying it because to your point, social media and videos that was taking over. Rap music was taking over, so people were saying that.
Yeah, I think
it didn't say about it. Parents, people with kids were saying that. Yeah, but see, that's a different mentality now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think the immaturity. I think the immaturity is just at an all-time high. Man. It's just I have people who work for me, and they're like babies, man.
When do you think it happened? Like when do you think it was like this?
Man, I couldn't tell you, man.
Turn and curve of immature. Because like again, I even think about, like I said, the other side of it. Like the people who are coddled, and then it's like I heard or saw like kids don't drive now. Like most people that are 60, like they don't get their permits because they parents are taking them everywhere. So then it's just like, all right, now what kind of adult are you raising? Like, could you imagine? Like, you already kind of handicapping and cycling that person from maturing, and just that aspect of like.
But that is an excellent point, because that's the person who misses work all the time. That's the person who, every time I get a boo boo, or every time I get a boo boo, I gotta take off. I gotta go to every single time. They get a little sniffle. They're not coming to work, man. Every little thing, and they do. They have a sense of entitlement because people cater to them.
Yeah.
So that is true.
It's a lot of that. Like this entitlement is out there. I think that's at an all-time high, and kind of.
But I think that goes with immaturity.
Yeah.
Because you do think you haven't done anything, but you think they owe you something. I mean, just look. I look at professional sports. In professional sports, that's not the immature people in professional sports. And
it
some
is.
of the stuff they say, I hate to pick on.
That's him. I knew he was gonna say it.
Nah, because they're trying to give them away. They're trying to give them away.
I knew you were going to say it.
They're trying to get. I was laughing. Somebody
he's still the same guy.
Somebody on the sports thing told a joke. They said that the NBA should put a rule in place that anybody that shows a Ben Simmons video over the summer gets fined $100,000. Because every summer they got his video.
Shooting jumpers and all that nonsense.
He had 6 points. He took 2 shots. He had 2 shots, put up 6 points. I think like 8 rebounds and like 3 assists.
I've seen plays,
the second highest player played.
He at the basket and like turning around,
But the point where his immaturity comes in that he can't accept the criticism for what he's doing, and there's not anybody else. Nobody's telling him not to take the shots.
He playing like that.
But that's what I'm saying. But he can't. That's immaturity. You can't accept that. That everybody in the world is telling you that you're wrong, but you think everybody's picking on you.
He's being sensitive.
And the ironic thing about it, this was the perfect place for him.
It was a good situation, and he messed up. And now
but that's immaturity would do that. And to your point, it had to start earlier. His father, somebody let him have this mentality early on in life.
I think it started when he left LSU early. Like as soon as the season ended, he packed up and left. Didn't even finish school.
But I think it had to start before then, because I think you just don't wake up one day like that.
He was coddled in high school.
Yeah. I think you just don't wake up one day like that. I think
stuff like that happens.
But again, it's just like funny, like how many different ways like you can go about, having or getting to that, just not being mature. Whether it is, I think it's funny, like that balance of like either you can introduce your child to too much, or you can kind of shield them from everything and still lead to having somebody that is not necessarily mature enough, whether that's mentally or just capable of just taking care of themselves on a day-to-day basis.
But the consequences now are so much more severe.
Why do you think that?
Because times have changed, man. I mean, first you just start. You used to be able to get a job in the factory with just a high school diploma. No, but I'm saying the consequences of the game, the stakes are much higher now. And I'm right, everything has changed, but it's not like 20 years ago when you were immature and like kind of waiting for you had, find yourself, get yourself together. Now, if you're immature and you're not, the chance you find a good job to pay you enough for the lifestyle you have is between nil and none. You don't have that space value, unless your parents can put you up or do things. You don't have the freedom to do that. You got to be ready to be in the game now. And most jobs are, I was talking to somebody and they were telling me how they got fired from a couple of jobs because they were immature and they kept missing time. And they the job was going to understand. The job said, no, we do understand, but guess what? You can't stay because it's a business. There's a difference.
And I think that's kind of funny to me to just think about that. The idea of being mature is, like you said, accepting accountability.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you think that you can not show up for work and that, things are going to be okay. I can still have my job that baffles me.
Chris, I had somebody tell me they had to go to court.
Wake up.
I had somebody, I can't come in because I got to go to court.
You know, you had to
And
get documents for
then
that.
somebody say, "Yo, I'm looking at somebody called me and say, you know, he's sitting right here in the Cheesecake Factory."
You knew you had to go to court months in advance.
The cheesecake.
So I'm just saying though, but that's his popular. God said he's big, he's not dependable, so I let him go. He called me up.
They need to be out of state or out the country.
He's begging money.
Don't be out.
He calls me up Monday begging for his job, giving him an opportunity. He knows he realized maybe take his young guy. I still could be here 2 o'clock on Tuesday. Meet me 2 o'clock on Tuesday, you know, at the school. 2 o'clock sharp. He shows up 2:53 with a hood in his head talking about I need to go to the emergency room. Come on, man. What's that, Chris Berman? Come on, man.
Yeah, like, oh my
Like, yo. And I'm looking like, come on, dude. Yeah. So, and, you know, and he's in college. He's just immature. You know, high schoolers give you a better work ethic than that. You know, and then he will text me the next day. Well, you know, I think I proved that I deserve another chance by at least coming to the book. Like, come on, man. You know,
because I should actually have been in the hospital, and I'm here.
This is the same Cheesecake Factory dude.
Oh my goodness, he's out of his mind.
But I'm just saying though. But when you immature, you don't see that. When you're immature, you think everybody's gonna give me a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth year. I'm telling you, I could tell you some stories, man, about some of the folk who work for me, man. Yo, they just so immature.
Do you think it could turn around? I don't think so. I think it's gonna get.
I do. No, I think it's gonna hit a low, and I do think it's gonna turn around because things are about to get tougher, regardless who wins this election.
Get tough.
Because unless the Democrats get total control, which I doubt, things are going to get tougher. So people will have to step their game up. People are not going to be just lollygag, and you know, and just fall into this and fall into that. You have to work ethic, man. You have to work for what you want, you know, and you will have to grow up. You can't now, you know, be 30 years old, walk around here like a 2-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I wanted to be like back in the day, like not when kids was wearing 3-piece suits, like 14-year-old kids wearing 3-piece suits.
Work for me.
But like, you know,
and wingtips. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No bow ties.
They was dressing like young accountants.
And what's wrong with that?
Like,
what's wrong with that?
What's
wrong with that, man? You teach your kids, put your best foot forward, man. Be the best version of you could possibly be.
I don't want those ages, but I do. It does need to go back to like, you know, just having a little bit more, I would say, maturity from our teenagers. You know, like we're allowing them to be introduced to like kind of at the same time.
But the funny thing about it,
I think
the 25-year-olds are more teenagers.
Yeah.
Because as a young lady, right?
It's pushing it out.
Young lady, I had to let her go. You know, because she would just, you know, she called herself being honest. Well, I'm not coming in today because I'm getting my hair done. Well, she'd be working in school during the day. You know, I can't stay for the school program because I gotta get my hair done.
Need to work.
I'm just telling you, man. And then when they want to pat themselves on the back because they do. I'm telling you, man. It's just different, man. I had somebody tell me, man. You know, it's hot. It's hot, man. I don't know if I really feel like coming in today because I'm just telling you, they just so immature, and it's funny because you can almost tell when they want something because they workaholics when they want something. But like they're trying to get a car or something, but soon they get it, they go right back to that mentality.
These are real people.
Oh man, I could tell you 100 stories, man.
So I'm interested to get, you know, your guys' opinion on this. They do have some characteristics of mature people, which include being able to control emotions, being responsible, reliable, and respectful, being thoughtful, humble, and considerate, being able to admit mistakes without covering them up, being optimistic and even-keeled, being able to manage life in a self-sufficient way.
Okay, there's 2 things on this I'm going to challenge.
I think that embodied a lot of what we said.
They did, except there's 2 things I think is not as cut and dry. Being able to handle your emotions, I think that's one of them. I think because some people are mature with their emotion, you know, for whatever reason. Now, I'm not talking about break down and cry because somebody say, you know, I don't like your suit.
It could be the other way, upset.
Like, yeah, but there's some people. And then I think in this day and age, man, you talking about, Optimism.
Emotionally.
Yo, I think that's tough because I think there's a lot of people who walk around who just.
I mean, the world is like that. Everything is
just
doom
my point.
and gloom.
Right. So that's why I'm saying that one is a little stretch because we talked about last week. There's a lot of people now who cool with just getting by.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about. I was like looking at the political stuff that comes on the ads. It's like every ad is telling you, listen, if you go this way, the world is going to end.
Politics, man.
Like, so it's just like everything's doing. So the
I've never been so sick of politics than I am now. I cannot wait to look at this so I can see no more commercials.
Constant text and everything.
Yeah. I swear Nicole is like sending me or put my number.
Nicole and Mom. I feel like they got me because I keep getting these text messages.
I get them too, man. I'm just man. But I think it also goes back to there's one thing about people who are in power, trying to get in power. They know the people, so they know I can play on their emotions. They know we got a bunch of immature people. They know that. They know I can throw a nugget out there and folk are panic and they don't even research it. They just take it and run with it because they're immature. Just like the Haitians eating the dog thing. So I finally had to ask somebody. So I said, let me ask you a question. If you think all Haitians eating dogs, how come it's only happening in Springfield, Ohio? That's not the only place Haitians live. It's not even the largest Haitian population. They looked at me like,
Yeah.
Come on, yeah. I'm like, me neither. I'm still trying to figure out how if you're Haitian, you find Spring Hill, Ohio. But apparently they do. But I'm just saying, but and then even when he came out and said it was a lie and he made it up, you had people still saying it.
I mean, he actually didn't even want to say it.
Yeah, but you have people. So that's my point. But that's really stupid and immature when you can't admit that something that heinous. Because I had to tell the person, I said, yo, what you're saying right now is they have bomb threats in schools. Little kids could die from this. You don't understand. Haitians, they don't see them as they see them as black people. See, we'll get that. Don't get it twisted. So and to me, a bigot is a bigot is a bigot. Yeah, a bigot is a bigot is a bigot. So they don't typically don't like anybody not like them. But when you immature, like some of these people out here, it's somebody I was talking to, and I don't agree with him, but I respect him. We were talking about voting, and he was saying how he couldn't vote for either party. And I don't agree. I think you vote, but at least he had a well thought out argument. You know what I mean? At least it was based on facts. I don't agree with him, and I told him, but it was based on, it wasn't this crazy stuff, about, I can't vote Democrat because they getting homosexuals surgery, free surgery, transgender. Come on, man,
giving trans.
Yeah, that was crazy. Or they eating dogs. I mean, and it's both sides.
I know it is both sides.
This is like, but people believe it.
They're letting men play basketball.
Yeah. And then you see the picture they got this dude look like Lurch.
I was going to say,
he look like Lurch.
It's John Cena.
And they got Lurch and over Simone Biles. It's like, so you got this little 3-4.
I'm like, yo, that gotta be AI. I didn't know what.
But they play on people being immature, and this is where emotions do come in, because we live in an emotional country. We live in a country now who sound bites run this country, and it's just just like marketing. Marketing knows they know when to market and what to market to make people buy their. It's not that you need it anymore. They just sell it.
You know what's crazy? So I saw during the Eagles game, it was a Trump ad, and it looked like a movie trailer, and it was.
I turned it down.
No, I want to tell you something though. The reason why it was probably something that might have caught people's attention because it was it was one of the first few commercials I seen where it wasn't that party sucks and they're going to destroy this country. It had a bunch of people actually talking positively about Trump and like what they think he did and what he can do. And it was like almost refreshing to see. Not gonna lie, not a Trumpster, but it was just like, wow, like they're not saying something negative.
But to me, see again, it's
and it was a movie trailer. It was crazy.
But it's still to me.
I was like,
in between, I'll say this to anybody. I'll say this to anybody. This is not a one-issue election, and when you're immature, you do that.
You know what's crazy? I said that earlier today. Is that like people really riding off of one issue, and like you said, I do think it is a level of maturity in a sense to be able to take a step back and make a decision.
But they count on you
different things,
like pro-life. I'm pro-life, so
like it's so much bigger than one issue.
But they put pro-life out there, and it ends up the same way. Every election year, they say they're going to do this. Then they say they're going to push it back to the states. There's nothing changed. They say that every year, and every year people get all up on. And then the same people because I asked somebody the same question. You for pro-life, but you for the death penalty. How do we figure that out?
Well, they deserve it.
Yeah, but you know how many innocent people who look like us are incarcerated in this country?
And yeah, it definitely
Who
did.
served decades in jail just to find out, oh, they didn't do it.
I be seeing stories like that.
Almost every month.
Yeah.
So how well you
even in the state.
but you
Right.
pro-life. Another thing about people who get on this whole the
pro.
pro-life thing. Inside the pro-life thing is if you are a woman and you have some other stuff that could complications, they can't take care of that now. Or if you're in the wrong state, you got to carry a dead baby for the whole term.
So, yeah.
So I mean, but they just they don't. All they hear is the pro-life portion. They don't hear the whole thing. And people, and that's my problem because that's immaturity when you don't research stuff. When you sit back and just take what somebody gives you, that's a level of immaturity. Yeah. On any side, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, if you just gonna take what somebody give you at face value, and you just that gullible,
So I mean, I saw what Devin pulled up here. I think I was a little preoccupied, but I would like to hear a list of kind of ways in which you can become mature. And you feel, because I think there's something that people certainly can achieve. If you feel like you are, no.
I'm only teasing.
So,
right here.
It says, it says the 10 ways to become more mature and responsible. This is from Modern Therapy .online. So one, it says set goals. If you don't know what you're aiming for, how do you plan to get there? Practice self-control. Stay persistent. Respect other people's opinion. Build self-confidence. Take ownership. Listen more. Avoid negativity.
That one's hard. Yes.
Yeah, that one's
You're just
hard.
talking about
how you live in the cocoon. But I think it's funny because
it's two more.
Okay.
Make sacrifices and give back.
All those things I enjoy.
Give back is probably the easiest and most rewarding.
Not anymore. Oh man, I got a little. I got a little kid in my program.
Thanksgiving's coming up.
I got a little kid in my program who likes to draw, so I give him notebooks. So he gets mad when I give notebooks to other kids. You should save them all for me. This kid's in the 4th grade.
Is he your only child?
No,
that's the same thing. I said.
No,
he told me that story.
But he's just, but they selfish. And it's just different, man. We live in a me first generation. We live in a me first generation, man. It's just how it is, And I know adults. You get into a conference, it's all about them, man. It's a bunch of narcissists. We got a bunch of narcissists running around here, man.
I definitely think it's the idea of one, they are kind of being raised like that, and then two, I think social media has drastically impacted our society and how people are maturing and moving along with life, like versus back in the day. Like we just got access to so much more, and people are kind of striving to do things that weren't even thought of as being feasible back in the day. And it's just, I don't know. I think our society's adjusted to that, and it's not necessarily a good adjustment.
It's a me first mentality, that we have. It's a me first mentality, man. I think.
The thing about we got the Instagram, TikTok, all these things where you want to have followers, you want to be seen, and like it's almost just like a big popularity thing.
But at some point,
look at me.
But how at some point you have to separate, fiction and nonfiction. At some point, you have to separate reality, from this crazy stuff, man. And I know that part is apparently easier said than done. But just look around you. I mean, you can just look around you and see what's happening. You see what's happening. Like, you see what's happening in our schools. You see what's going on, man. When you see, some of these kids, man, you look at some of the parents, man, and you say, I had to tell a parent, I said, look, your kid right now is at this place, but you need to worry about him till he's 8 years old. 10 years from now, it's going to be a problem.
I think it used to be like a sense of pride and ownership and those
definitely.
Now it's not like that.
Well, because nobody
attention is drawn out.
It's funny. We'll compete for stupid stuff.
The creature.
Devin lives next door. He get a Cadillac. I'm gonna get a Cadillac. We compete over stuff like that. But ain't nobody competing about sending their kids to college. Nobody's competing about teaching their kids. I'm not gonna say no one. Let me rephrase it. A lot of people are not trying to make their kids the best individuals they can possibly be. So we got a generation of immature kids. And you work in school who follow each other. Who so easily influenced.
Yeah.
And I think people count on you being
disheartening.
immature. Disheartening the word for it, man. It's man. Let me. It tugs in my heart, man. It tugs in my heart, man. I think that wow, we've sunk this low as people.
Yeah, this is a generation of people kind of being raised like that, and then to think in my mind, like, man, like how does it get broken? Somebody gonna have to want to do it.
Well, I
how
mean,
long does that take?
It takes because it's going to take. First of all, this is you talking about a whole generation. This just didn't happen. I think to your point, social media just put it on a broader stage, on a bigger stage. It's been coming. It's been coming down the pike. So if I stop now and start thinking back to some of the encounters I had with kids, working at the shelter and different places like the places, it's coming. I can go back and look at it and say, yeah, I started to see this in this kids, and those kids that I was working with, they have kids now. So you do see that. But I think to turn it around is school. You got to start teaching in schools about character, about integrity, man. You got to start those programs in school, on home economics, things to give them pride, how to dress. You got to start teaching them that, man. You got to, when you get into history, this other thing that's scary about this election, man. Trump has already let you know when he get in, they ain't teaching anything. They just going to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. All this stuff about history and stuff. Yeah, he's talking. I'm gonna take the funding from any school that teaches Black history. Yeah. Somebody asked him a question. Any school that teaches slavery, I'm taking it. That's what I mean. People are not paying attention.
Wow.
People are not paying attention. So I don't want to hear that. And he's telling you, he's talking about, if this dude is sitting there saying, anybody that's against me when I get in office, I'm going to turn the military. Any TV station, he asked Fox News, his people to not play any more ads that's not favorable to him. And people, I can go down and list this. That thing he had at Madison Square Garden was a joke. It wasn't nothing political. Dr. Phil was nothing. He's at the point now where all he does, is talk about the Democrats. There's no, nobody talking about issues. But when you're immature, when you're immature, you're entertained by that, Chris. You think it's funny when all they do is talk about each other. You think that's the greatest thing in the world.
I think that it kind of shows where society has moved towards.
I agree with you again.
People have fell in line with it, I think
it's sad.
It's sad, especially on both sides, because it's like a lack of maturity. It's like kind of the nitpickiness back and forth, the cattiness. Even like Joe Biden today, idiot, last night.
I don't even listen to anybody.
Oh my goodness, but it's just like, I think it's a lack of maturity on so many different levels. And I think for us, like in our community, it starts with just one, education for sure. I think that certainly would help.
But you got to expound upon it. It's not just academic education.
Oh yeah, it's academic.
I know what you meant, but you got to tell.
But no, I definitely think academic certainly is a pathway in the beginning, because I think sometimes, you see it in the schools, like the guys or people who act out at times is because they don't know what they're doing. It's like they.
But the thing about academic,
the
thing about academically is kids don't value education, bro.
Yeah,
that's why you kind of got to start on the other end. You got to self-pride and things like that. You got to teach them pride, man.
Start early.
But you got to talk pride in yourself, man. You got to start talking about, and turn the tables on them, man. You want those nice things. You got to get education to get it. This is the pathway to get there, because you can't start with education anymore because they don't value it. I got kids tell me, man, I got all these books, African books they can read. What some of them look for? The books with the most pictures.
Of course.
And they tell you that. It's not enough pictures in that book. It's great. Like, life ain't gonna be about picture books.
He understand.
And it's like, but it's different, man. And immaturity can lead you so many wrong ways. Because you don't stop to think things through. You do become overly emotional. I'm doing a workshop on Saturday in East Orange.
Higher beings want it like that.
And the name of my workshop is, functioning in my dysfunction. That's a lot of us, man.
The higher beings want it like that.
Yeah, I know. I'm not disagreeing with you. But at some point, we got to stop thinking dysfunctional is normal.
I just really do think like there's a conscious effort.
Oh, it is. But you know why? Because they know we're immature. They know. They know if I go in the hood and and I got $1 million over here. All I gotta do is throw $10,000 over here, and they be so busy fighting over the $10,000. They know that about us. But at what point do we grow up and start to really set a standard for ourselves? At what point do we grow up and say, you know, enough is enough? You know, like when people say, okay, and vote for you want to vote for, but then don't complain to me about the Department of Education, trash schools being trash, and you vote for somebody that's telling you that rights going to destroy it. You know, that's immaturity. You know, you can't tell me you pro-life, but yet you want to, because what's going to happen to those kids is they're not being educated. It's already, you see it now. You know, you know, or you know, you go up to school, you cussing the teacher out, your kid dead wrong.
I'm curious, did they really have classes like that when you guys were growing up, like a class on like I guess how to become a more mature adult?
No, yeah, well, we had different classes. We had we did wasn't so called character education, but we had character education. We had home economics. In home economics, you learn how to cook, you learn how to do different things. You know, sort of like the project you had, you had to do the budget and stuff.
Yeah, that was a different class too.
So you learn things, but your teachers talk to you about those things. You know, behavior was huge back then. You know, you couldn't be in school cutting up and they just pass you. I mean, they left you down. You got left back. You got left back.
I feel like parents was a little bit more into.
You know, there was a kid I went to school with.
When I got kids accountable.
When I got to junior high school, he was in the 9th grade. When I graduated junior high school, he was still in the 9th grade. You know, and I'm not making fun of them, but you know, they didn't. Now they just pass you just to get rid of you, just to get rid of you. You know, and it doesn't matter if you're mature or not. You know, they don't talk to you about that. Like I used to be against uniforms. Now I'm like, bring on the uniforms, man. Bring on the uniforms. Bring them on, man. Because I look the way some of these kids be dressing. You know, and so it's a combination of things that I think we've dropped the ball on as a society.
Yeah.
And I think as Black people, we've really dropped the ball. So I get what you were saying. I do agree. But at least back then, when they dressed a certain way, we had a sense of pride. You know, there was a sense of, you know, pride, not just in us, but in our community. You know, we wanted to get an education. You know, we wanted to be better. You know, even your garbage men wore suits. I mean, it was, you know, when they weren't. I'm just saying, not working, but when they got off, because it was a standard because you represented your family. You represented your family when you left the house. They didn't wear suits while they were working, but you did. Now it's not like that. You know, nobody's representing their family. My father used to tell me all the time, man, hey, the only thing I got to give is my last name. Don't mess it up. He said, if you don't leave this house, don't go out there messing my last name. I used to hear that all the time. Now, yo, first of all, and I know I'm getting in trouble. Listen, they all got different last names. You know, check this out. I got kids in my program, and I've never seen this before, who has names without vowels.
Names without vowels.
I can't even pronounce them. Or we add names.
That's like a vowel.
You know, Nyland. You know, no, it's Nyla. They just put an N behind it. We just do stuff, man. You know, and that's the kind of stuff that to me we put so much time and energy into that we're not educating our kids. You know, they got all the latest gear. You know, because you immature, you just see they gotta have the latest sneakers, all the PlayStation, all stuff, but they dumb as a bag of rocks in school.
They take dope pics.
You know. No, not even that, because they all doing stuff like back in the.
You take good pictures.
But what's happened to us as a group of people? You know, it's getting continuously worse, and that's a problem because you know, I do believe it's going to get better, but it's going to get worse first.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where my stance is at. I mean, it's just like I can see it continuing to get worse before it necessarily gets better.
Man, you're going down here fast in the roller coaster without brakes, man. We're just flying.
And it don't matter who's in office, honestly, on that one. It's just
it does in a sense because at least some of them will slow it up. Yeah. So what's name is going right through. They will. I think they will slow it up. But I do agree. I don't think that's anybody's immediate concern. No, I don't. I think because of other things, the economy and things they want to address, that they will slow it up. Overseas. Yeah. But nobody. But you know, nobody wants to address the elephant in the room that you really have to start putting this in schools.
Yes.
We got to stop saying it should be happening at home because we know it's not happening at home. You know, just like in Philly, you know, they year-round school. You got a broken system, and instead of fixing the system, you adding days to it. Come on, man.
Which is nuts to me. Year-round school. That's a whole nother episode.
Come on, man. You know, we want them show. Come on, man. That's gonna be our thing.
And then we get sued.
Well, we say, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. No, but it's crazy but this is how things are happening. Yeah. You know, things are happening like that. Like we think because you add extra days, you got a broken system, you want to fix it. But and again, to me, this speaks to immaturity. The character trait you just named, when you're immature, man, you just, you know, you're moving off emotion. I got to come up with something. whether they work or not. I gotta have a plan. You do. When you're immature, you worry about what people think. You worry about what people say about you. So you spend most of your time trying to negate that or trying to manipulate them into saying something positive.
Man, so I think one thing is I'm really happy that we had this conversation because I do feel like this is something that's been on my mind. Just kind of looking around, but it
breaks my heart.
Couldn't quite put a finger on it, but I never really thought about it in a futuristic sense. I've been kind of detached. I want to get back to working with kids and coaching, but I mean, I kind of see it from a distance. I
got a reading program, Philly reading coach. I'm read some kids.
Basketball coach, not reading coach.
And that's why I'm happy there were programs like CAN and you had Sunny Hill and you had POW where there were actual
be active mentors.
Yeah, active mentors and positive people in those programs that could teach you maturity in different aspects of life.
That was a good point.
Because I definitely,
it was a good point.
I definitely think that was something that I did as a coach. Like outside of just the X's and O's of basketball.
Well, what's so funny?
Teaching young men how to be.
It's so funny because somebody on Facebook has this fixation with Ted Lasso. Because they play all those character scenes, but it wasn't even the scenes, the things he said. Mm-hmm. Like when he was talking to them, and the guy he talked to the reporter, and he says, the reporter says, well, you never wanted this level. What you have in a rotten season, what makes you think? And his response was, I'm gonna say this to you, I'm gonna say it to you twice. He said, you don't understand. He says, it's not about wins and losses. It's about helping those boys become men. To be the best version of themselves they can be. And it's powerful. So all these little clips of him, now they showing all over Facebook the little wise things he said about life. And it's applicable. It's applicable. Now, some people look at it and say it's corny, but if you really stop to listen to some of the, because I had to watch, I watched the whole thing.
Because on the other hand, his assistant coach did come to a little bit later and say, it is about wins and losses for these guys.
Yeah, but his perspective turned that around though, because this is how this works.
It was like twofold. He had him get him to believe in that to get him to move towards the winning him.
That's how it's about buying in.
Yeah.
It's about buying in. And he knew it wasn't that they didn't have a skill. Mm-mm. It was how do you get them to buy in to sacrifice a little bit of themselves, and you still gotta have enough skill to shine, but to sacrifice a little bit of yourself to fit the concept. And it took, but got more.
Celtics.
Yeah, but it's been a while. I think the last team that you saw do it in this day and age was Golden State. Mm-hmm. Now, that's where everybody's starting to unload the 3 stars now because they don't know how to share the basketball. They all want to take 30 shots a game.
You can't fill the team out like that either.
But it's going back to now. So how do we get quality players? But we got team players.
2 stars.
And like that's right now, that's what makes Boston so good is because they can match. They, any one of them go out there and get you 30, and the other guy's not complaining the next day he didn't get enough shots.
Drew Holiday.
Next game,
Drew Holiday comes off the bench. This guy's won.
On the bench? No, he started.
They started him now, but he's gone off the bench last year. He's won 2 championships, 2 or 3.
I think. Oh, you talking about what's his name? Derek White.
Oh, yeah.
Derek White.
No, Drew didn't. He maybe start now, but he didn't start right away. He didn't start right away. And matter of fact, because it was an article that I was reading, I didn't realize he won 2, 3 championships. They were talking. Yeah, they were saying
he got 2 gold medals.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. They were looking at his resume, saying how he just wins everywhere he goes. And they were surprised that more teams weren't trying to get him.
Should have brought him back home.
But that's my point, though. That dude, man, is a class act. Mm-hmm. He's probably gonna be one. He's probably gonna, if he keeps going and win another one, he's gonna end up in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna end up in the Hall of Fame. Man.
Yeah,
so
get on an all defense team and
gold medals and all that stuff, and he's just a character dude. Mm-hmm. And AI is one of my favorite players, but you see the opposite, how he just never grew up. He still was living like he was in Virginia.
Yeah, and then guys back, it's funny when you hear guys that kind of had a immature era. They look back at it now and they can acknowledge that, and they wish at times they'd done things.
But I think Golden State, that team, the last team we saw, they did a nice job of that. When they had Durant and Clay and all those guys, they meshed together. I don't know if you'll see it again like that with that much talent, and guys do that. Look at Phoenix. I know Devin ain't there, but look at Phoenix. They struggling, man.
We put it together this year.
They got a point guard.
This year, we got.
But the problem is, teams like that put it together during the season, but when the lights come on, everybody want to be the man, and that's where the problem comes. That's what happened to the Nets. When the Nets had all that talent, they were okay during the season, but when the playoffs come around, everybody want to be the alpha guy.
You need a leader.
James Harden just need to be alone.
But
Before
that's
this turns into sports talk radio.
but it's. I think it's good that we brought sports into it because that's what more people watch.
Yeah.
People look at sports, and I think some people don't realize, how immature some of them people are, and they just really like. It's always the guy that leaks stuff to the press. It's always somebody in the locker room, no matter how much you say keep it quiet, from leak stuff.
Anonymous source.
That's the and then it's funny because Stephen A. Smith got blasted for it. He had the guy from Boston, D. Brown, what's the guy's name? Jaylen Brown. And he said, and I know he froze. He said, "Yo, whoever your anonymous source is, dead coward." He's a dead coward because if you really have that strong conviction about what you say it to your teammates, or you let them know you said it.
I don't know who it was.
So
It's definitely exec or something.
Yeah, but the point is, but again, I think that goes back to maturity. Like, what do you have to gain by leaking it? Seriously, you hate, but what do you have? But see, hate is a form of immaturity. You're immature. Because you don't like somebody because of what? You don't even know why.
Because he's too smart.
Yeah.
Too smart.
No.
Intimidated.
Yeah.
People intimidated by big brain.
Yes. Well, I think great conversation tonight. I think a lot to think on. I think we'll probably continue this conversation off air. But appreciate everybody, chiming, listening in. Another great episode of Above Average Black Man. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share. We're on our platforms: Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Check us out because I think I'm gonna go. I'm doing a workshop in East Orange. I think I'm gonna do one on a record one. East Orange, New Jersey. I'll be there Saturday doing one on. Yeah, functioning in your dysfunction is the name of my workshop.
So that's why you was dropping.
He's dropping. Subliminal.
Nah, because I think I came up with the title because of what we're talking about. I didn't come up with the title till after I came up with the title for the show. I was thinking about it, and it made me realize there's a lot of people who are dysfunctional who don't even know it because they think that's their norm.
True.
That's the norm. You're the one that's crazy. You and your 5 friends y'all crazy, ain't me.
That might need to be a whole episode right there too. After your workshop, you won't get into it now. Thank you guys again. Take care. Until next time.
See you guys later.